everybody. Welcome again to another episode of Just for Fun Reviews. I'm your host, Azzy, and with me is my boy, Roy.
Yeah, you got it right. You got it right.
There we go. And tonight we're going to be reviewing Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. So we're going to front load this with the non-spoiler section. Then at the back end, we're going to give you some of our true blue thoughts. If you haven't seen the movie by that point, we will warn you ahead of time. No worries. Don't even think about it.
Get out.
But here's a heads up. If you haven't seen the movie yet, and you also haven't seen the Christmas special that came out last December, go watch that, please. It's funny. It's short. It's like
about 30 minutes. No, it's not even 90 minutes. I think it's less than that. I think there was like 30 minutes, 35, something like that. But
yeah, but it adds a little bit of extra context. It shows you where the Guardians are at the start of the movie, as well as giving us a little bit of a tidbit on
Mantis.
A big ass like lore drop. At least for two of the main characters or primary characters of the Guardians. But anyway, going into this movie, you had a lot of people who were kind of treating this as that this needed to be the movie that hit, because the MCU post Endgame hasn't been cohesive enough, or it just hasn't hit the mark yet, or everyone's got way too inflated expectations. But nonetheless, a lot of people put so much pressure on this movie delivering, and fuck yes it does. Oh, fuck yes it does. I got made fun of by at least 4 people I went to go and see this movie with, because I cried. I cried several times. Basically, the Guardians are kind of settling into their new dynamic, but Peter is still very hung up on losing Gamora. Tragedy strikes the team, and the vast majority of the adventure is trying to save one of the members of the Guardians. And with the previous movies, James Gunn has kind of hinted to the notion not only that Rocket was his favorite character, but also that he was secretly the actual main character of this franchise. And if this movie wasn't a confirmation that was very much the fact, then I don't know what is.
But
what were your initial thoughts about the movie, Roy? And yeah, I'm sorry, I'm rambling.
Okay, no, I got you. Overall, I really like this movie. Now, it's been a couple of days since I've seen it to kind of, like you say, digest it and, process what we just saw. Of course, I cried too. I don't care. There were some emotional beats in there, and damn, you felt it. And if you didn't feel it, you ain't got no soul. But
it's true.
But
it's true.
as far as a Guardians of the Galaxy movie, yes, this was good. As far as an MCU movie, it's still kind of like, where are we going? Where you just came off of Ant-Man and the Wasp with the major threat being I already forgot that dude's name. That's how forgettable he is.
Kang the Conqueror.
Yeah, Kang the Conqueror. Yeah, you got that dude, and there's no lead up, like, not necessarily spoilers, but there's nothing here that involves him from that movie in this. So this is just clear.
I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, though.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just like, as far like, if I'm looking at MCU altogether and looking at Guardians Volume 3, kind of brings me back a little bit, but not enough to make me be like, okay, what's next? I can't wait to see what's next. But like I said, as far as the Guardians movie, since this is the third one, and James Gunn rounded it out, this was great. But like I said,
I get what you're saying, but I think that we need to really, and I think I said this the last time with Ant-Man and the Wasp. Not that I can remember, but we really need to separate ourselves from this notion that every movie in the MCU needs to be building towards something bigger, because that's not what we get. Like, we're gaslighting ourselves. That's actually not what we really got in during the Infinity Saga. Those movies, all those movies really only like they hinted at certain movies, like every like 4 movies, I should say, like a rough estimate, would hint or allude to things that were going to happen way down the line, but they really didn't coalesce in a tangible way until Infinity War. Like, you got a little bit of it in the original Avengers, but it was really Infinity War that brought all those mismatched shits together, and it delivered so well that we kind of just like believed that there was a very clear direction for the MCU up until that point. There really wasn't. And at least for this movie, we got what felt more like a definitive ending and a great send-off for each of these characters. Like, I've heard that James Gunn was kind of blindsided when Gamora was killed in Endgame, or I'm sorry, in Infinity War. That was not his intention as to the direction he wanted to take the third movie, and that shows with another character that is in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 in Adam Warlock. This is gonna be, if you were an Adam Warlock fan, like from the comics, Cosmic Jesus, you're gonna have problems.
Oh yeah, yeah, because like I said, I'm not familiar with the comics. I don't know these characters, so I'm just going in there as a regular movie viewer. Hey, I like MCU. I'm just gonna check out Adam Warlock. I heard he's like a badass dude. I remember him from the Guardians of the Galaxy game. He's badass in that. Who is this dude? Who is this guy?
This isn't the same Adam Warlock. For one, it was never going to be the same Adam Warlock, and it's going to trigger a whole lot of people because they have expectations, and those expectations are going to be fueled by like the video game or cartoons or comics or what have you. But those are all based on a version of those are all effectively a version of Adam Warlock that can still be tied to the Soul Stone, which is very quintessential to his character. Not to mention like him and like his uber powerful alter ego. But none of that shit could work in the MCU as it is. Sadly, we know the least about the Soul Stone at this point, and it's gone. So what do you do with Adam Warlock, given what James Gunn had to work with? You know what I mean? I thought the solution that they kind of came up with was still clever. And while, yeah, we didn't get a lot from him in this one, this was the end of a trilogy and need to be the closure for all these other characters. There's not enough time to spend on Adam Warlock, who's obviously not the primary villain. The primary villain was the High Evolutionary, who was just despicably evil, and yet I still really enjoyed him. Like, it's funny how, like, he worked, but like Malekith didn't. You know what I mean? Like from like Thor 2.
No. He was this guy way better. Like I was like, yo, I hate this dude. But I love the way he's acting, and it like it's hard to not to go into spoiler bits, but when he's mocking people, and I'm like, oh man, you are such a dick, you know.
Played by Mr. Chukwudi Iwuji. I'm sure I mispronounced that, and I'm very sorry. But yeah, no, he played that like megalomaniac scientist, you know, like a true blue evil scientist, as it were. And his greatest sin was very much pride. And I've seen some people complain about the back half of the movie, saying that like he doesn't at that point. He's mostly just shouting at people. And all I can say to that is that like we get a lot of like flashbacks. This is the central character that essentially has existed within Rocket's nightmares his entire life. And we get all of his personality and his character in those flashbacks. Whereas in the present, we see him in like at his like last straw, in like a manic state. It's like that's the end result. We still get all of his character in like in the beforehand. So I don't think we actually lost anything.
Mhm.
It's all very much on the situation, because like the movie felt like it was apart from like the part where they look like Among Us characters. I know that's not the reference that James Gunn was doing. Apart from that point, the movie really felt like it was on a rush. Everything was on a timer. So yeah, it's like there's no time for like one last monologue or anything like that.
I mean, it's been, this movie, it was pretty much like the core heart of the film was based in flashbacks, you know, to develop one character and see how he became who he was. I wasn't disappointed with that though.
But I still feel like that we got a lot of really great, like they maintained the pairing of Mantis and Drax, and very much leaned into the like perpetual jokes that comes from Drax, and finding some heart there. There's this Mantis gives this really great speech partway through the movie in defense of Drax and his stupidity, and how it's because because he's like that, he's the most genuine. He's the only member of the Guardians that doesn't hate himself. It hit me in the freaking feels right there. But then you have with Peter Quill. Did you notice how his struggle with this new Gamora was very similar to like the High Evolutionary's fatal flaw? And I'll get into the specifics if you don't know what I'm talking about in the spoiler section.
Yeah, guys.
I'll get into that, but I really like it, and it had to be pointed out to me a little bit after the fact. But we also got to see a bit more of a culmination of Nebula's relationship with Rocket. She spent more than 5 years with him as the last remaining Guardians to survive the snapping, and their bond was very much showcased in this movie. Switching over quickly to a different topic, though. If I had to be honest, I liked this soundtrack the least.
Okay.
It's like another aspect of the Guardians of the Galaxy movies is its soundtrack.
I give you that one. I give you that one. Some of the music in here, did not hit. I mean, you got the Zune. You got all this music that could possibly be on this device, and it's not the hits like in the beginning.
It felt like the creep at the beginning, like the acoustic creep at the beginning. The song at the very end, I forget.
Dog Days. But
Dog Days, yeah. So basically, like there were like 3 great moments with like musical choices. I was like, yes, this feels amazing. And the rest was like, yeah. Although Guardians of the Galaxy codified Hatsume Miku. It's canon in the MCU now. She exists. Thanks, James Gunn.
But man, yeah, the soundtrack. I wish there could have been some better music choices. Like even with Dog Days at the end, I was like, this was the last ride. I want that song, American Pie. Bye. I would have loved that a whole lot better. It would have probably fit for the
quick
thing.
Cut into like the South Korean president was just singing that.
Oh my god!
at the White House. I don't know if you saw that clip. You can cut that in real quick. He's actually not a bad singer, to be completely honest. He wasn't bad. But yeah, no. As overall as a send off to these characters, like not to mention teasing a possible future for the franchise, and like James Gunn's swan song in the MCU before he goes off to basically make DC 1,000 times better than it's been for the last like 10-15 years. I absolutely loved it. The little hiccup with the music aside, and giving it a bit of a handicap because they had to kind of roll off of the decisions that James wasn't made a part of. I still feel like as a trilogy, if you look at all of like the separate trilogies in the MCU, this is obviously the best one.
Yeah. Now, how
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. I give it
10
a
out
9.
of 10.
I give it a 9 out of 10. But as far as rankings, would you say this is better than 2, or like I still like the first one, and then I would go with probably 3, then 2.
Yes, I would agree.
Okay.
But anyway, so if you got this far and through my rambling, because I don't write anything fucking down, thank you so much for watching. We're going to get into spoilers real quick. So if you haven't seen the movie yet, please, Vamoose, go watch it. Watch the Christmas special first. You have been warned.
Yeah, I got to get my mother to watch the Christmas special because she wants to see the third one. I was like, you don't even know. And then she's like, I don't even remember if I've seen the second one. And my brother's like, you saw it in theaters with me. And I'm like, God damn, she don't remember anything. So what I was saying before is that like one of the things that Rocket touches on later in the movie is that the High Evolutionary's problem is that he wasn't trying, like he keeps talking about how he's seeking to perfect, like he wants to perfect life. That's his mission. But his problem isn't that he wants to make he just wants to make things perfect. Is that he just couldn't accept things the way they were. And in that same way, Peter was acting in the same vein, because he wanted to effectively change this new Gamora to open up herself to possibly being a replacement for the Gamora he lost. He couldn't accept that that due to circumstances as they were, this was a different person. He wanted to effectively massage her to be the Gamora that he wanted, rather than accepting the Gamora that she was. I thought that was really cool. Not to mention vanity and pride with the High Evolutionary, the notion that like he created an intellect that exceeded his, and that was the prime motivation for him wanting to get Rocket back, was essentially he needed to find out why Rocket was able to solve that problem that he couldn't. And one thing, for those of you who are like extremely fucking big-headed and like, I didn't feel nothing when Teef's Floor and Lila died, because I knew they were gonna die from like the moment that they showed up. And it's like, I get what you're saying, but what you probably don't remember is that they retconned the first Guardians of the Galaxy for the sake of this one. Lila was listed as one of Rocket's known associates when they were being processed by the Nova Corps, which insinuates that she's alive, because she wouldn't be in the Nova Corps system, or Nova Corps. She wouldn't be in the Nova Corps system if she never escaped the High Evolutionary. So yeah, those of us who remembered that shit, we're kind of expecting that she was alive somewhere. Oh well. Didn't happen, but yeah. Man, let me tell you something, man. For people who are, love animals and shit like that, this is gonna be hard to watch. And I'll tell you now, when was the first time?
Ninja Turtles.
Yeah. When was the first time you cried in the film?
I can't remember when was which was the first time, but I know I cried when Rocket saw Lila again in that kind of like between.
Okay. I cried way before that. I cried early on.
I like when Lila was shot, Rocket's anguish. I was crying.
Yeah, yo. Now I'm talking even way before that. I'm talking about when he first got operated on and goes into the little kennels with Lila, Floor, and Teef, and he was like, "Can you say anything?"
The first words
he says, "Hurts." I'm like, "Oh, you got me, got me." God. Oh, you got me good. It's like hurts, and like that, and that's like so memory burned in my head. Now I'm like, and bad enough, I want to see this movie again, and I'm like, I don't want to cry anymore. I don't.
I want to see it again too, but yeah, no, like I cried when Lila died, and like Rocket's like anguish scream, which also I couldn't help but like separate from that part of the Creep song.
Creed.
Oh no, when like he's like yelling "run."
Run. I can't remember. It's
Uh,
like because I was so like because see
Yeah,
that's why the music choice they could have just used I mean it's the actual artist singing it, but it's the acoustic version. I'd rather have the original, you know, heavy guitars and shit.
I really like the I still really like the continuation of it because I remember in the second movie we found out that Rocket really likes Peter's music. So here we have him again. He's stolen the Zune and he's listening to the music. He's just
How many
to himself.
times I gotta tell you to stay off my Zune?
Yeah. Where's my ring? But then you had towards the end, like the happy ending. I was happy crying at that.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the things I'm kind of like, oh man, you had such a perfect ending, but nobody died. No, like even with the consequences of this movie, nobody died. You had somebody die, but you know you brought them back.
No, see, I got the feeling that like there are going to be people with that exact sentiment because he knew what he was doing. Like James Gunn knew what he was doing. All the trailers made you, all the trailers and all the talk from like the different actors, like especially Dave Bautista. But then like just before the movie came out, Zoe Saldaña was kind of pulling that. Oh, I want to be an artist. I need to separate myself from these comic book movies and shit. And it's like, oh, okay, whatever. It's like that's all well and fine. You want to take a break from them, but just don't act like you fucking hate them already. Jeez. So yeah, like so many people were like, I was expecting to be like emotionally damaged in this movie because they're going to kill off a character that I loved, and I very much thought that it was going to be either Rocket or Drax. But we aren't owed, for one, we aren't owed that, and two, characters did die, and we felt it. It may have not been the main characters. No, of course, but it may not be the main character.
But
you don't need a main character death to make a story feel important or impactful.
But yeah,
like if that's what you fucking need, then you got problems, man. You need fucking therapy.
But how dark was their deaths? Like I was not expecting them to pan back to see their bodies fucking shot up. I'm like,
yeah. Yeah.
I was not ready for that. I was like, Rocket, just get the hell out of there. Get out of there.
Oh, and like for the sake of like a continuous joke that's taken throughout the entire movie, it's like it's not a trap. If you know it's a trap, then it's a face off, and then like they face off. The high evolutionary. No, Rocket had fucked him up.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. The comedy, it could have been better, but it was good enough to make me like really enjoy and have a good chuckle, you know, here and there.
Mantis making the guard fall in love with Drax, and then him alluding to the notion that she just keeps doing that. It's like you're madly in love with him.
Say, hey, I'll be here when you get back.
And fucking Nathan Fillion actually getting to make his like live in-person appearance in the MCU.
Yo, that shit that had me dying. He was like, "Yeah, I got one of those too over there. This one, this one.
Everybody's got one of those."
It was like, oh man. But I can't remember the actress's name, but the one that Peter was trying to sway.
Looks like
I can't remember her name, but she played Ratcatcher in Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
And I was like,
James Gunn really likes reusing actors, and I love that.
Yeah, because when I saw, I was like, I seen her. So they're putting a lot of emphasis on this one character who's just supposed to be like a background kind of character, you know?
Oh yeah, no. Pom Klementieff, if I'm pronouncing her name right, the woman who plays Mantis, was asked on the red carpet, if James were to invite you, would you jump ship and do a DC movie? And she's like, oh hell yeah. So yeah, I think that'd be funny if we saw like all the Guardians actors sporadically throughout DC movies in some like minor roles and shit. But
Zoe
let's
as
see, what-
Starfire.
Oh, also Karen Gillian and as Mantis, and the like the moment where she found out that Rocket was okay, that quiet moment that she got to have to herself, and the first thing, like going back to that whole like they'd spent like 5 years together bonding because they'd like they were the last ones left after the snap. When Rocket finally wakes up, the first person he asked for was like, "Where's Nebula?" It's like, damn. Also, we got a bunch more Cosmo, and I love telepathic Russian dog. Okay.
It's cool. I just got tired of I'm such a bad dog, you know. That
that was him.
You
that was
knew.
her and what's that? Kraglin's running gag
Yeah,
through the movie.
but you knew that was gonna come back later, where he was gonna say, "No, she's a good dog," you know.
Oh yeah. That was telegraphed like from moment one, definitely. But just whatever.
I use my heart, boy.
Getting to see him one last time. Like, also he's like a really big. Him and James Gunn are really good friends. So it's like, of course, he found a way to shoehorn him into the movie. It's like, hey, you want to be in the movie for like 6 seconds? You have to go through 5 hours of makeup. And he's like, yeah.
Yeah, can you just blue screen me? Or use a stock? You got some stock footage of that shit? Because I don't feel like going into that makeup no more. But
fuck that.
all right,
he really complained about it.
No, but for Adam Warlock, man, I don't care how this version of him, I actually kind of enjoyed his stupid ass, to be honest with you.
Oh yeah, no, he was endearing. He was effectively a baby. He was like, the notion that he was taken out early, I think, was a great way of reference, and not to mention tying the entire sovereign race, a race that's introduced in the previous movie, whose whole thing is effectively being perfect or being genetically superior to other races. Is like it, and attaching them to the guy that's his whole shtick. I liked that. I like that turn of events anyway. Like the whole, what was the fucking the whole thing of him saving the little like dog thing who has a name and is from Marvel Comics. His name is Blurp.
It's like, I told you to kill it.
Oh, when Blurp wet himself, I'm sorry.
No, I just like that scene where Adam Warlock killed that. Like, he was trying to teach this guy a lesson or some shit, and he ended up killing him. And he was like,
just like, like the pig thing, right?
Oh no, not the pig thing. I'm talking about it was the Ravager guy they found, and they were trying to interrogate him.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. His mother goes like, "Show him we mean business." He's like, "Okay." And he just like blasts him and incinerates him.
How are we supposed to interrogate him now? But yeah, the whole ship scene with the kids and everything, that was funny. The jube.
Oh, jube. Oh yeah, no, and transitioning Drax from Drax the Destroyer to Drax the Dad, effectively. Giving him that moment where you get to remember that he was a loving father at one point in time, and he kind of knows how to handle kids. Not to mention, even giving him the opportunity to go like, oh yeah, I know how their language. It's like, you didn't fucking ask. You assume I'm stupid. Well, you are stupid. It's like, yes, but I'm still good.
Yeah, right.
It's like, oh yeah, and like I had mentioned, the whole like speech of Mantis about how like I love him even though he's dumb because he's the only one that doesn't hate himself, and he gets like really self-conscious, like, you think I'm dumb? And she goes, forget. It's like, okay, let's go. It's like, aren't you so glad I tore down that door? But yeah. It was really great. It was great. It was a really great payoff for all of these characters, and I'm like, it could be another 8 years down the line, but I'm looking forward to the next Guardians of the Galaxy movie with this new cast. I had to Google who the little girl was, though. She's the daughter. Her name is Farla. Like in the credits, she's listed as Farlavelle. She is the daughter of the original Captain Marvel, the Kree, Though obviously she's not going to be that way in the MCU.
Nah.
Maybe she shows up. What if she shows up in the Marvels? Because we gotta find out how the hell she got her powers.
Yeah, because when I saw the post-credit scene, I'm like, okay, why does she look like she got Captain Marvel's powers and shit? I don't know who this character is. I'm gonna just leave the movie theater. This is the new Guardians team. I don't have to know any of these characters until the next movie. But as far as Peter, like the Peter's like conclusion story, meeting up with his grandfather,
No, I mean it's something that had been lingering for a long time. I think I can't remember if they had asked him in the second movie or in the Christmas special why he has, despite the fact that he's had the ability to, just never wanted to return to Earth. Like he had a ship for like his entire adult life. He could have gone back to Earth whenever the fuck he wanted to, but he just chose not to. And the notion was that he was running from it because that was where his mom died. That was like his character defining tragic moment, Though I did actually like the post credit scene where they're just
Kevin
eating
Bacon.
breakfast at the table, and the Kevin Bacon story on the newspaper. Yeah, no, I fucking loved that. I had actually also forgot that Peter's grandfather was in Guardians 2. He was the guy in the car when the blob started expanding, when Ego was like growing himself on all the other planets and it blew up the Dairy Queen. The car that was getting pushed as it was expanding, he was in the driver's seat.
Oh, didn't know that.
Yeah.
Now I know.
Oh, and other thing I had to find out about after the fact. At the very end, when Groot says "I love you guys," James Gunn said that was not. No. Let me finish. That was not Groot actually speaking English. We, the audience, could understand what I am Groot meant at that point. It's cheesy, but I fucking love it.
Yeah, cheesy, corny. Just like the one TikTok I saw the other day is why Rocket was always telling, Peter, or, just randomly wanting to get prosthetic limbs and eyes and shit. It's because it reminded them of Floor, Teeth, and Lila.
Haven't gotten confirmation on that from the director, but like that little Easter egg, because I could see somebody complaining that what now Groot can talk all of a sudden, which, to be a nerd, the I am Groot thing was a later addition in the comics. Groot originally could talk just fine. But yeah, no, the idea is like we can now understand, and they actually seeded that throughout because Gamora couldn't understand what the fuck he was saying. And then she got the gist of it towards the end. So I liked it. I fucking liked it.
Yep. Yep.
I think that's everything, right? Yeah, anything else?
I don't know. I think that did we hit everything? Was there anything we missed? I'm like really thinking about it. It's
the cavalry coming in on literally nowhere and then firing a gun that came out of its eye. Nice.
Oh yeah, the hallway fight scene. Loved it.
Oh yes. I had been hearing about that long before I got to see the actual movie, and it's like they were saying it's like, I think this is the best fight scene in an MCU movie to date, and I was like, that's
bet.
bet.
Yeah, I like because it was like it's like
halfway. I
halfway.
watch it over again because I feel like I was doing like the SpongeBob thing, like the man. I was trying to pay attention so much. I don't feel like I got a lot of attention from it. I don't feel like I remember much of anything that happened.
Yeah, it's because I got halfway through that fight scene. I was like, yo, this fight is actually pretty damn dope.
No. It was definitely great. I got some of it, but like I couldn't digest it. It's like, that's cool. Oh, that's cool. What happened?
And yeah, and Gamora gave me some good laughs for her asshole attitude where they were trying to break in and do all this stuff, and she just shoots that woman in the fucking leg. I'm like, what the hell?
That was James Gunn's wife.
Right, yeah, I know. I'm like,
Yeah,
oh my.
she was in
Suicide Squad Peacemaker. Yeah,
both.
yeah.
She was in both.
Nah, they're gonna expect them to be in every damn James Gunn property that he makes.
Probably. But nonetheless, thank you so much for watching. If you saw the movie, what do you think about it? Drop your comment down below. Be kind. Maybe some people who haven't actually fucking seen it. But anyway, we'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Deuces. Jube jube.
Jube jube.